Have you ever thought about why January is the first month? Why not February or March? Well, it's funny you should ask, because March actually used to be the first month of the year. That is, until the Roman king Numa Pompilius exchanged it for January. In this video, we are going to talk about how our modern calendar was established and how January became the first month of the year. Before we begin, I'd like to make a small disclaimer. I'm a Latinist and Roman history enthusiast, not a historian. But I have gone to painstaking lengths to make sure this video is factually correct, to the best of my knowledge. So for extra assurance, I will link my sources in the description below. So first I would like to ask, what does January mean? Well, January is actually named after the Roman god Janus, or Janus in Latin. Janus was depicted with two faces, one facing forward, one facing to the rear. Ovid writes elegantly, Jani biceps anni tacite labenti sorrigo, solis te superis qui tua terga vides. Two-headed Janus, source of the silently gliding year, the only god who was able to see behind him. Janus was the god of new beginnings. Janua means door and is directly linked to the god Janus. Symbolically, a door has two sides, one facing in, one facing out. You get the idea. By the way, in English, we get the word janitor, which comes from the Latin word janitor, which was a doorkeeper. Anyway, where was I? Oh yes. In Rome, there was a temple dedicated to Janus, which stood in Foro Romano, near Basilica Aemilia, along the Argiletum Road. Sadly, this temple leaves us no archaeological evidence. The temple of Janus had doors on either side. Inside the temple stood a statue of the Roman god Janus. The doors of the temple would remain closed in time of peace and open in times of war. But because Rome was so war-hungry, these doors rarely remained closed. So how did this god Janus get a month named after him? Believe it or not, there actually only used to be 10 months in the year. The months October, November, December come from the Latin numbers octo, novem, decem. These months actually used to be the 8th, 9th, and 10th months of the year. March, named after the god Mars, was the first month of the year. Romulus, said to be the son of Mars, was the founder of Rome. For some reason, he thought it fitting to have 10 months in a year. In Ovid, we read thus, Tempora dirigerat cum conditor urbis inano constituit menses quinque bis esse suo, scillicet arma magis quam sidera Romule, curraque finitimos vincere maiorerat. Romulus definitely conquered his neighbors, but he did not make such a great astrologer. Just 40 years after Romulus and the foundation of Rome, Numa Pompilius added January and February to the Roman Republican calendar. March, however, still remained the first month of the year until many years later. In 46 BC, Julius Caesar adopted the new Egyptian solar calendar with the help of Sosigenes, a Greek astrologer. This became known as the Julian calendar. Before this, the Romans used a calendar based on the lunar cycle phase, which was not very accurate. The new Julian calendar had a length of 365¼ days, divided into 12 months. Some months having 30 days, some having 31. February had 28 days. Every fourth year was a leap year, but rather than having a 29th of February, the 23rd was actually repeated. Caesar was certainly onto something, but this calendar still had some issues. Because of a small miscalculation by Sosigenes, this calendar was off by 10 days by the mid-1500s. In 1582, Pope Gregory proclaimed the Gregorian calendar, the same as our modern calendar. It differed only slightly from the Julian calendar. No century year would be a leap year unless it was divisible by 400. Exempli gratia, 1600, 2000, 2400, etc. The designation of regular, not leap year, evenly divisible by 4000, would keep the calendar accurate to 1 day in 20,000 years. We take it for granted that we have such an accurate calendar, but now we can see that this has not always been the case. What began as a 10-month year beginning in March is now a 12-month calendar beginning in January. Who would have thought that the first month would be named after a two-faced Roman god? In hindsight, it makes sense though, right? Nonetheless, I hope you all glide into the new year. Probably not so silently though, considering all the fireworks. But either way, I wish you all a Happy New Year.